Drop and Give Me 20 is brought to you by Germono Advertising Company. Drop and Give Me 20 is the podcast for military entrepreneurs. Each episode is around 20 minutes long, giving entrepreneurs a glimpse into the life of other successful military entrepreneurs, learning from their obstacles and gaining insight and inspiration. Podcast episodes focus on the stories, challenges, and wins military entrepreneurs have faced in their businesses. I am your host, Lindsay Germono, and thank you for tuning in. Drop and Give Me 20 is brought to you by Germono Advertising Company. I am your hostess, Lindsay Germono, and we were just about to get in some really good stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit record and let you guys listen in. My guest today is all over the place in social media, and she's all over the place in her personal life and professional life. She is no stranger to the military community. She is, I can't think of anybody else that immerses herself so deeply in the causes that matter. Without further ado, Holly Vega, how are you?
Thank you very much. And we were just discussing that I never get asked to speak. And
this is weird. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I never. I think maybe people just assume I'm always highlighting other people. And I'm always promoting and like saying, hey, you should do this. You should interview this person. And I think that just people like you just assume. And I never saw, I was like, oh, I'm doing my first podcast. This is so exciting.
Listen, when I reached out to you, I thought I was going to have a heck of a time with your schedule and availability on account of the, busyness you seem to have. So welcome to the podcasting world.
Thank you. Now busy. Yes. I've already did 3 meetings this morning and I have 2 more after you. So I did that, but I think people just assume because once you win something and you look like you are national, oh, well, they must be all the time talking. I'm always talking and helping, but never am I interviewed.
Of all the things you do today, I promise mine won't suck. All your meetings, everything you have going on, I'm going to make it worth it. I can't make any promises, but I'll make it worth it. So, Holly, before we kind of get into that, I want to just kind of read your bio, and I'm taking it from Military Hearts Matter, because it's I guess it's just such an important role, and you are the co-founder of that. You're also involved in the Military Spouse of the Year, Military Spouse of is it MSOI, and I don't know who it's brought to you by at this point.
It's Armed Forces Insurance Military Spouse of the Year program.
Got it. That's a lot to say. And you have a full family. You've got a lot going on. So when I reached out to you, one of the things I was really I wanted to bring, just the movers and shakers on for this season. But something that was really interesting to me is your passion with the issues as far as like heart issues go. So not just like, oh, we love each other. It's actually like the physical heart. So talk to us about that and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on so that our listeners can immediately friend you on Facebook like I do.
No, I think we actually met at an event, and then you friended me because I fell in love with you so much.
Oh, good. I did. I wasn't a complete stalker.
No,
fantastic.
No, we met. It was actually in Florida.
That's right. Military influencer.
Was it 4 years ago?
Oh my gosh.
2018.
Yikes.
I feel like it was just yesterday, but yes, thank you to Military Influence Conference because you bring people together. So
that's right.
Thank you. So yes. I'm not a newbie in the heart community. It's started in 2013, before like movements actually was a big movement. I guess that's what I was doing. And my brother had a heart attack, and it's something that people don't know. 2 weeks ago, he actually had another heart attack, and due to the fact that he has children and his family, we have not publicly put that out there. So
I'm so
today's
sorry.
my birthday. We almost lost him this time. And so
oh my God.
It's very, very hard. And it's something that actually touches a lot of people, but for some reason we don't talk about it. So my husband was gone. I don't know if anybody's ever been in this circle who's listening in 29 pounds, but if you ever have, then we all deserve medals and lots of hugs, because I feel like it's a partnership of friendship forever if you're out in the desert. But that is one of our bases that does a lot of training and prepares our Marines for combat in the climate of like Afghanistan and over in the Middle East. And so we deal with a lot of casualties and a lot of stressors and other things that come along with being a military family, right? And so my brother had, like I said, he had a heart attack. My mother called, and we won't go into too much detail, but at this time, this is before you got to think Blackberries was just the cool thing. So she still didn't have a Blackberry. She had the home phone, rotary phone, and hung up. And I'm trying to call back because she just said, your brother's being medevac to Charlotte. I'm from South Carolina. He was being medevac to Charlotte. And that day is my reason for being a heart advocate. But my why is because of Dr. Vivian Wursel. My son, my oldest, was under her care. She was his ear, nose, and throat doctor. And we had an appointment that week. And I'm usually a very happy jujube. And I was not so happy that week and very stressed out. And so she, after our appointment, grabbed my hand because, at that time I didn't know she was a military spouse. And she grabbed my hand. She's like, is everything okay? And so I explained to her, and of course I'm crying at this point. And, she says, Holly, look around my room. And I'm looking around the room and I see pictures of General Maddox and, Mrs. Pelosi. And I'm like, wow, you know some great people. That's like awesome. You're a great doctor. You're a comforter. And now I know that you're semi-famous. And she's like, no, that's not the reason. But come to find out, her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Russell, had passed away coming back a few weeks after coming back from combat. He was down in Camp Lejeune exercising. And at that time, we did not have defibrillators on base and trying to get the EMT on base. And we were not as high alert of promoting, CPR and all the things that we are now today. And that wasn't very long ago. And it was 2012 timeframe. So when you're looking at things like where we've gone a lot, a big movement. Yeah. And so that day stirred me into sharing her story. She is her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Wursel, and Dr. Wursel are my why. Because a couple of days later, we had a spouses event. And at that event, I shared, everybody wanted to know how my brother was doing. And I shared how he was recovering, and also shared her story. And I had spouses come to me, talking to me, sharing stories. And that let me know that we are silent. And this is our silent killer. It's our number one killer in women. It touches 1 in 3, and in our men, 1 in 4, and our children are definitely touched by cardiac issues. And so that just started to having an event, to another event, to more events at different bases. And when my husband got orders down in Florida at McDill, which is a great base. If you ever can get to a station there, it's a joint base. Highly encourage it. Beautiful crystal blue water. Great. However, I am a Marine Corps spouse. Now I am an Air Force spouse that really feels like an Army base. And I was out of my comfort zone. It was the first time looking back going, now I know what spouses feel when they feel like I feel like I don't belong.
Yeah.
And how do you take something you love and implement it from what you're used to, your service branch, and people are understanding, and not everybody else around? Right. I'm a firm believer in the word pivot. We do not give up what we want. We just pivot, because we can always pivot back.
That's right.
And I had a dear friend, Elizabeth Shaw. She's a Navy spouse who is also within the heart community, working for the cardiac college. And she was like, hey, Holly, they're having an American Heart event down in Tampa. You should really reach out. Well, I took her advice, because that's what we do, right? Take our military spouse friends' advice.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I reached out. I did not know at the time that I actually was going for Go Red casting. So here's Holly and her whole mojo. I'm like, I got my bags, I got my pictures, I got my stats, I got everything. And they're like, can we videotape it? And I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, yeah, I know what I'm saying. So
right, I'm ready.
That's right. And it ended up being their Go Red. And so that moment changed to now no more as a movement. It ended up being an initiative with the Tampa Bay American Heart Association. And we started growing and doing heart walks. So it was called, I always called it Military Heart Matters. So
Yeah.
Military Heart Matters in a movement, now Military Heart Matters in an initiative. In 2019, I was recognized for volunteering, and that just gave me a bigger platform to do other things, which we can talk about later. But it also gave me a chance to talk about Military Heart Matters. What is that? Why do you do it?
Mhm.
And my husband, for the first time, he'll tell you he saw me other than a volunteer, because
That's
he
right.
plus
Oh,
one
wow.
behavior. And we had the opportunity to go to the bowl game thanks to Armed Forces Insurance. And we were recognized as six on the field, but I also made an appointment with the American Heart Association, Dallas, at the headquarters. And,
While you're there.
while we're there, I mean,
Right.
I spoke to them in 2018, and that's what led to my, wanting to do more, because I brought to awareness like this, and they started implementing veterans within their program. It was really amazing. But I wanted to do more, because that's what we are as military spouses, right?
That's
We keep
right.
on pressing, saying, no, that's
Yeah.
not right. I still want to do more.
But
And,
wait, I want to do this, or
yeah,
there needs to be
yeah.
this.
hmm
So, Holly, what do you like? What is it? What is something I don't know about heart disease? Just give me a stat.
So 65% of our military is touched within our veteran community and active duty.
Okay.
I don't think that people realize, um, we talk about stress, we talk about PTSD
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
other things, combat war, but you also have that within our heart community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that is not talked about. But if you ever speak to anybody a mother who's given birth and now her child has heart issues and will forever have those issues, those triggers, those moments of what happened between the time frame of giving birth and knowing that they're going to live.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we also have that within our community of an actual veteran who was active duty. We do have active duty personnel who's had heart issues.
yeah.
A lot of people assume that they're just going to lose their job, and I don't want to ever lie and say that's not
I
true.
don't know what I guess it depends on the
It, it,
job and
it depends on your MOS, and it depends on your
right.
job.
Yeah.
But also, um, something that's not brought aware of is that we are not doing EKGs across the board as a standard when they go to MEPS. And so those are things that I've been trying to. I went to DC this week, and I'm fighting the good fight of something of saying, just because you're a pilot and stuff doesn't mean that not everybody needs that. And we also need it when they're coming back from a deployment,
Sure.
because think
Sure.
about the stressors and all that they have dealt with. Heart
Yeah.
disease is not just today it came about. And
Wow.
but it's also something that's very preventable. It's life changing,
Mm-hmm.
um, health wise, but you can prevent it. So it's life saving if you have the resources and knowledge.
I started on this journey of an Apple Fitness watch that was
Mhm.
given to me for Christmas last year. And I started tracking my workouts. I started doing all that, and I'd been a pretty active person before, but now I have something to tell me, like, get my butt up and move, because like it'll even tell you, okay, according to like yesterday, you're not moving as much as you normally do. So I kind of like that. And what I think is really cool about it is, like, as you start, you're doing your fitness and you're going through your goals there, it starts to adjust, because of your heart health. And so I think that I've never really, like, I didn't have anything to like tell me what was happening with my heart health as I'm exercising and my heart's getting stronger and all of the things are starting to pump more efficiently and stuff like that. Well, the amount that you exert starts to go down. So it can be frustrating, because you're like, oh, I'm doing the same thing, but it's actually because your heart's getting stronger. And so that's the only thing I know personally about it. And then I had a very, 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 very dear friend of mine pass away from she had a heart transplant, and then the transplant extended gave us, like, a couple more years with her. But then it was time for her to move on, and she's no longer with us in this capacity. So I was familiar with Centera's heart hospital program in Norfolk, Virginia, and they were just, really phenomenal there. So, I think from the military perspective, though, I had never really sat down to think. I guess maybe I assumed And you know what they say about that, that these topics, it's your heart. It's like, I don't know, one of the most important things in your body. That's like it's like a vital thing. That there had been efforts, certainly there would be defibrillators before, 10 years from the present. Like, what? This isn't new. So I'm so glad that you're doing that. And I knew our listeners are really going to gravitate to, and I normally do like, where do we find out more about you? But if you're thinking about, if you got something to do and you're going to tap out of this podcast, before you do that, go to militaryheartsmatter.org and read more about Holly and her journey and her organization to see how you can help. I know that you can become an ambassador. I was, poking around on the website. So please, before you go off to do anything, hang in, because I'm going to do some more stuff with Holly. But like, if you do anything in this podcast, please go to militaryheartsmatter.org and learn more about the efforts and that affect our community, and see how you can help. So thank you, Holly, for all of your focus on there. Transition. So period, next paragraph, indent. I want to talk about the military spouse, the armed forces, what is that like? It's like, is this like the sorority of the military spouse community?
Yes.
Don't try. I know you're Southern, and you tried to sugarcoat it. And I saw you catch it. For those that are listening, watch this video. It's going to be on YouTube, and watch Holly like go from yes to yes. That was really cute.
I think that there's good in everything. And so I'm a positive thinker. I try to look at it as more, maybe we're a family network.
Because it's like,
and a friend network. And so it is so nice to be in a circle. I call it, we're the 5% of that one, because we're 1%. We have made up of the community, and we're like that 5% where you have passion and you have drive and you have people like you who are doing something, and it's so nice to be able to be with like minds, and to do things that I can collaborate with people who are, maybe it's not in your wheelhouse, but it is in your wheelhouse. Like I've been able to work with other spouses. For me, you never would really meet other branches of service.
You're right. They don't mix branches of service when you're on an Air Force installation. Very rarely are you sitting next to somebody in the Army.
And I say, like, to do justice to all families, it would be nice to be stationed in an Air Force base across the board. That should be like part of like the list of things that the service member has to do.
Yeah.
Because you really immerse yourself in other, and I call it, it's a unique lifestyle. So our unique lifestyle, now you're immersing in other cultures within that lifestyle. And we have different acronyms and different things, but that doesn't mean we're not doing the same thing. It's just called differently. And I think it's that confusion of, but this is not being done. No, it is being done. Yeah. It's just called something differently. And then when you connect with that other person, they become your family that you never knew you needed. And so that's my takeaway with it. And also, Armed Forces Insurance, the company itself, you did something that no one else has done.
Right.
You recognized a volunteer.
Yeah.
On a national level.
Yeah. And they roll out the red carpet for you guys. I mean, I seriously have FOMO because I've never been to anything like that. I've never, I love partying and I love networking and all the things. So I look at those photos of you guys all having fun and I'm like, I have FOMO. I want to be there. And so I'm always
there. Yeah. We had a great time in DC this past week. It's been 2 years. Think about you.
Yeah, we couldn't gather
since my award ceremony was 2019, and so to be able to be in a room, not with everybody, because everybody could come, but just see people, and then see the new spouses that come in, because it's new people you're bringing into this program, and how wonderful is that, right? That's it's amazing. Again, you would never meet them, and to listen to what they're doing. I mean. And I say for the top, this war's going on for 13 years. There's, 12 of us, because Paulette got to keep her title twice. But there's So there's 12 of us. And each one of us have been recognized for something different. And if I, I'll go back to my year, they recognized a volunteer nationally.
Mm-hmm.
And volunteers don't ask for national recognition. So it took me back. It was different because I'm not used to doing interviews or anything like that. We are behind the scenes. We're not on front of the scenes, and we're happy being that. But you
Yeah.
recognize that to where when I did go speak, I got to speak to lots of people, and I was very surprised that people want to listen to me talk this country accent. But I had spouses crying.
I can't get enough of your accent. I'm from Virginia. Sometimes people tell me I sound like I'm Southern, and I'm like, "Well, you need to listen to people from like South Carolina and
Call
Georgia.
Holly. Call Holly.
Yeah, you need to call my friend
Yeah,
Holly."
have spouses say, it felt like a Me Too moment. Like me too, because
Yes.
to hear they're working,
Yes.
volunteering, and sometimes your base recognizes you, and sometimes you don't. And
Yeah.
I got to listen, and then reach out and say, like, I see you. I
Right.
see what you're doing. Oh my God, that was a great event you held. That's awesome. So thank you to Armed Forces Insurance for allowing that, because that's not something that's really has ever been done.
Yeah.
And I'm not famous. I don't have credibilities as some of my predecessors who are amazing. I mean, you see them I'm so good. I'm in your community. You chose me to be in this community, in your circle. So yes, if you want to call it that, the sorority part, like I'm having the whole moment you're having, like, wow, I met Lakeisha Cole, like, ooh, like I'm in her circle. And not really in her circle, but I'm in her circle,
You're there. Yes.
And so that's amazing. So yeah.
See, that's why I wanted to have you on, because even you talking about it, you're so humble and authentic, and I think that we could all just kind of take a beat as we think about our volunteering and our giving back. And of course, we don't need to be on the cover of a magazine or need to be
Oh,
on a billboard. But gosh, doesn't it help with your cause too to have, just recognition for the efforts that you're putting in? So I love that, and I love that component, and I just wanted to bring that up because for those that are listening, you're in the active duty world or military spouse world, or even you transition to veteran, you're going to have at some point in all of that, you've had been asked to volunteer or you have volunteered.
exactly.
I don't
A
care how
world
much.
would not live without volunteers.
That's right. I don't care how much in your capacity that you could or couldn't do, but we are not newbies to that. And I think that the military community is especially, we can't do the things we want to do without our voices being grouped together. And, and that's why I like doing this podcast too, because of the whole entrepreneurial aspect of, a military community or military service member or spouse. It's very unique. I try to explain that to your civilian friends, but and not to say that they don't have their challenges or anything like that either, but like when you're coming up and you're going to PCS every 2 to 3 years and you're thinking about opening a business or starting a dang nonprofit, come
Very
on,
hard.
it's
That's why it
hard.
took me so long. For one, I didn't want to create a nonprofit. Nonprofit is a labor of love with no
Yes.
coming into you. And you're 24/7 breathing, eating, sleeping something that you love. It's not easy. I needed to wait till I knew my husband. My husband will hit 26 years in this January. And so when we got the orders, it was he was in Afghanistan for one, two. The world was coming to an end over toilet paper and all that, as we all know, COVID. And so I had other battles. But my husband going to Dallas. My husband was the first time, even through, I mean, you got to think that was January and I won that past May. And he had toured with me. I call it touring because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we came out of that meeting and he looked at me and he's like, I never realized. He goes, I just really thought that you just volunteered. And I couldn't understand, like, what's the love for her volunteer? He said, this year gave me and understood because he listened to people. He got to see it. And he said, and then he saw what I was doing with the American Heart Association. For him, I was on the back with it too. Because, we listen to them, we're still military spouses, so we're doing that. We never talk about ourselves, or
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And not even with my husband. I don't really like, today I did this,
Yeah.
It gave
Your
them that
priorities and the
opportunity.
conversations with your spouses tend to be more like,
Different.
immediate things, active duty
Yeah.
things. We got to go to this or we're
Mhm.
happening to this. So I
And this
totally
was
can
his
understand what
first
you're
time
saying.
into it, and he was like, you need to create the nonprofit because they're going to move in certain directions, and in the collaboration I still have with them, we still promote the heart walk. We
Yeah.
now have locked in with DC, American Heart Association, of working and collaborating with them, and I hope that we have those chapters all over.
I love it.
But there's some things that we want to do, and they can't do it. And my husband's like, it's time for you to do you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to support you. And that was the biggest thing. I think that's what is a hesitation for
Sure.
any military spouse.
Sure.
How do I start my business? How do I start my job? Because you're supporting them, you're supporting our armed forces, you're supporting the world in a sense. We're holding it on our shoulders. And
Yeah.
we forget that no one is supporting us. And once that
We,
moment switches and you hear that, like it gave me, I get chills with it. It gave me that
you
moment.
got me goosebumping all over the place.
I'm like, I can do this. And my
Yes.
husband is giving not permission because we don't need permission, but
Right.
he's giving his blessing of saying, I'm going to step back and it's your time. And that's hard. I think that's a hard transition that we see because they've had us for so long being that person that they didn't have to really take care of the home run. We do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that, you
Right.
know. And
We
now
got to
it's
be able to pivot on, like you said before that, that magic
every moment
word.
of our life, that word. I know I want to get a big shirt saying Holly's always pivoting.
Yeah.
Or, military spouses are always pivoting. We got to come up with something, Lindsay. It's your advertising.
I'm on
Um,
it.
create that because we really
You
do.
need that by close of business tomorrow. I got it.
Yes, we got it. And
We
but
need the like friends couch with the pivot, Ross with that, but like all of us holding the ends of the couches because like oftentimes your active duty service member isn't even there when you're getting your
no,
household goods.
and we can
So
have like a cup that says friends for life because
yeah,
a cup of
yes,
tea. Sometimes we have to have it, and we're
yeah,
passing the tea and pass it to someone else's houses and keep on pivoting and going with
I
a
love
smile.
it.
Smile
So
and maybe a tear or two once in a while.
when I started working on this podcast, I was like, I want to ask some fun questions towards the tail end, and we're about
Okay.
to wrap up. But one of them is, what did you go to school? Like, what did you go to school for, or what was your like
Mhm.
intended profession?
Okay. So I love teeth.
Teeth.
You say you want fun questions. I want to give you the fun answer with it. And so
Teeth.
all through high school, I knew I wanted to be a dental assistant. And when we come to my senior year, it really starts coming out when your friends are like, I'm going to Harvard. And they get
Yeah.
the they get the sign and all the stuff. And we're dealing with that with my senior this year already. And so I just want to go to technical school. I want to be a dental assistant. I knew that since freshman year. Not that I didn't have good grades, because I did have good grades and I had everything I needed, but I didn't want to go to a 4-year institution. I
Right.
wanted to go to technical school. So I got a full ride to York Technical School. However, I've always had a fire in my soul that just needed to blaze other places.
Mm.
And so I had a family member that's out in California who said, if you ever want to come out here, just come to visit. And, I'm a good Southern girl. My parents were like, no, that's not going to happen. So graduation money came in, and Holly went behind her parents' back because I was 18, and I bought a plane ticket. And I had a friend that worked at Sears. This is how old school this is. Sears, if I'm telling my age. And I bought myself a suitcase set because I didn't have it. I had duffel bags, right? We
Right.
didn't go nowhere. What did I need
No.
suitcase for?
Right.
And I had never flown in my life. And so I put the suitcase underneath I didn't have a trundle under my day bed, but I put the suitcase there. Finally, a couple of weeks prior to me leaving out, because my cousin was getting married and I had to stay. And of course, I had to stay for graduation and her wedding. But my best friend ratted on me. Holly has a plane ticket because they didn't want me to leave.
To your parents?
To my parents who
What?
flipped themselves. And my grandfather at the time was alive. My grandfather was a Marine. And so I remember him taking me to breakfast with my grandmother. And I'm like, yeah, I know where this is going to lead. And, talking to me and all that. And we went to Charlotte and we sat over in the airport and you can watch the planes go over. I don't know if other places have this, but in Charlotte you do. As a lookout point, get ice cream and watch it. And I remember sitting on the hooded car, my grandfather saying, you sure you want to get on one of these planes? I think he thought he was going to scare me. And I looked at him and said, you sure you wanted to be a Marine? Say nothing
Oh.
else. He said, "Okay, we're going to go back. I'm telling your parents this is the way it's going to be." And this was before, way before 9/11 or anything like
Right.
that. I
Right.
graduated in high school in 96, so if I'm telling my age. And they supported me. They came into the airport, my family, they stood there by the window and did this and cried. And I have never been back until my husband got the orders here to Paris Islands, and now I'm back
Oh
20
my gosh.
26 years later for myself after graduating. But I knew I wanted to be a dental assistant. And
Yeah.
I went to school out in California. I worked. I was there for 7 years and enjoyed myself. I met my cute little Marine, and my world changed on his axle, and
That's
the
right.
uniform did it. Just
That's
saying.
right.
And so when we had my first child, we had medical difficulties, and that's when I learned about EFMP and true love, and
Yeah.
I stopped working. So it wasn't that I stopped. I've never worked. I stopped working because my husband was deploying again. When my son was 8 months old, I found out I was pregnant with my second child. These were not my plans, but God
Yeah,
had
my
something else.
goodness.
And I was not forced, but my son had medical and I was pregnant again. God
Sure.
was giving me a sign that you need to slow down and think
That's right.
and reevaluate yourself. And I did.
That's right.
And but I never stopped doing stuff. So I just volunteered to keep I don't have a gap in my resume. I
Yeah.
don't have something where I can't go and ask for a recommendation letter,
Yeah.
or like if I talk to you, you know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
knew someone, you would be able to say, "Oh, Holly." So I kept myself busy. And
Okay.
then I went back to school, and I'm a Park University graduate with an associate's degree in social psychology. And I was hoping to graduate last year with my bachelor's and a minor in organization communications, but we moved in COVID. I stepped back. So
Yeah.
I'm going to graduate. I'm 8 classes away, people.
You're
8
going to do
classes.
it. I know you are.
It's
Next time
going
I talk to you, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm done with school. I'm going to go do
So,
this
and so
now.
I say that because you're never too old, it's never
Mm-mm.
too late, and
That's
sometimes
right.
you have to stop and start, and that's okay. I will finish eventually, but I have an associate's, I have a technical degree, and I have a lovely family.
She loves teeth. All right. My last weird
Teeth and hearts.
question. Do you do you collect anything?
Um, hmm.
What do you
Well,
have a whole lot of, or the people are like, gosh,
shot
you're
glasses,
shot glasses.
but I don't drink shots, but I do collect shot glasses. But it started from my husband because
Okay.
everywhere he go, it was the easiest thing that he could buy and wrap it up and then put
Yeah.
it in the bag where we go. So I have lots of shot glasses from around the world.
And do you have them like on a display somewhere? Or are they just like all
They
in a
used to be. My son made he was doing woodworking class, and he made me a shot glass holder, which is kind of funny, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I bet his teacher was
However,
pleased.
I know he came home. He was so proud. I'm like, I'm sure that they really thought that was great. My mama
Yeah.
needs a shot glass holder, and he's like, yeah, but you used to have them on this in the cabinet. I wanted you to have a place. It
Cute.
all good intentions, people. All
Right.
good intentions. But
Right.
unfortunately, it got smashed in our movement here, and so right
Ooh.
now they're still sitting in. They're out of boxes because we plan to live here maybe forever. I don't know, but forever. And so they're back in the cabinet. And he even mentioned a couple weeks ago, like, I really need to make you another one. And I'm like,
Yeah, you do. You need to get on that.
yeah.
Holly, it has been just a wonderful, long time overdue conversation with you. Just kind of getting the real Holly Vega. Please step up and just kind of getting those conversations going. And I learned a lot. For those that are listening, Holly is someone you definitely want to connect with. She, as you can tell, she is just very passionate about our community. And I thank you for all you're doing, because you might not hear that enough too. So thank you for everything that you're doing
Thank
for
you.
us, Holly.
That means a lot.
It has been great. For those that are listening, go to militaryheartsmatter.org so that you can connect with Holly and her wonderful organization and support her. Holly, thank you for everything today, and I will talk to you very soon.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
You too. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Drop and Give Me 20. Drop and Give Me 20 is brought to you by Germono Advertising Company, and we would love to invite you into our network of military entrepreneurs on Facebook. Just search for Drop and Give Me 20 and join the Facebook group.